MHA chapter 374 is out, and I think we can safely say that the heroes are in big trouble right now, and there's many reasons for this, but we're going to get into that with this chapter of the manga. Before we get into the chapter though, I do want to ask everybody to like and subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy the video, and consider watching all my other videos. Thank you. This week's chapter starts off with President Mike looking straight ahead at Kurogiri, and we already can tell exactly what this means. It means that something bad is going to happen with the heroes, and it's not looking good at all. We then actually cut over to the United States of America, and we hear a weather reporter saying that there's a huge cloud forming over the entirety of Japan, and this cloud is most likely coming from all of the heat from Dabi and Endeavor and everybody using their fire powers, and it's forming with a sort of storm, I'm assuming, and this cloud is actually on its way over to the States, and she's saying that it can be very catastrophic if it does make it over there. She then speaks on the Light Baby and how the originator of Quirks, the Light Baby, might have actually caused a bad downfall of humans, and maybe that Quirk, or the originator of Quirks, the Light Baby, kind of coming into play would lead everybody down a path of doom and destruction. So it kind of is crazy seeing just how Quirks have kind of gone from a sort of utility thing. A lot of people would kind of use it for other stuff, and now it seems like Quirks really are going to be the downfall of humanity. It's after this that we actually do cut back over to the Kami Award, and this is where we know Dabi and Shoto are fighting, and it seems like Dabi really is back up and running. Somehow in some way he's still fighting, even though he should technically have burned up by now. He's been hit a lot of times, so he was using his own fire, so it doesn't make sense that he's still up, and it seems like he's doing this through sheer willpower. Even Todoroki is really dumbfounded right now. He's saying that everybody's surpassed their limits, everybody's at their limit, they've already surpassed it, and they've been doing that for a while, and he's saying that he's the only one still standing right now, and we see that Dabi really is still standing. He's still up and running, his body's charred and really going away, but he's still standing there and still fighting back against them, and they're really dumbfounded as to how he can still be doing this. Dabi then actually starts to talk to himself, and he starts saying that Endeavor's, still very far away from him. He says that he's all the way in Gunga, and he's saying that his body might not keep up, but he still wants to go over with the plan of bringing Todoroki's body over to him, so it seems like he's still thinking about that plan. And a very interesting thing that happens next in the chapter is the fact that he starts to actually use his fire to fly away, and we know that even Endeavor can't do this. Endeavor can only really use his fire to stay afloat and kind of, make himself go down onto the floor lightly, but he's full on flying away right now, and Burnin, the girl with the fire hair, even she's saying that he's broken past his limits. He's passed it, he's gone through it through sheer willpower, and he's going to try to keep it together all the way over to Endeavor. As he tries to fly away, we see Todoroki saying, get back here. Todoroki's trying to egg him on to have him still fight him instead of go over to where Endeavor is and mess with that fight. So we see him trying to get him to come back, and at this point we see that Shirakumo is actually there, or the Nomu version, obviously, since he's kind of being controlled right now, and he says, you're gonna get a free ride right now, when you see that he actually warps away Dabi, and Dabi's actually gone now. It's at this point in the chapter that we do cut back to the fight with Deku, and we see that right now everybody's still trying to hold on, or at least Monoma and Aizawa, they're still trying to make sure they have their eyes open so that they can stop Shigaraki from being able to use any of his quirks. And we see Monoma talking, saying, this is going to be in the history books. He wants everybody to kind of remember him for being the one that helped to stop the quirks, and he wants to be remembered as someone that really did help out in the fight, which he honestly is right now. He is doing his best, but that's besides the point right now. Things are about to get very bad. We still see him comment though, saying that Midoriya is giving it his all, and that he can't afford to blink even once, and that he needs to make sure that he keeps his eyes open so that Midoriya can win this fight. And it's at this point that we see things kind of go downhill, as I was saying in the beginning of the video. And it's at this point that we see a warp gate actually appears behind Aizawa and everybody else, and we see President Mike is actually inside of the warp gate, and we don't see exactly who comes out of it, but I guess we can assume that it's going to be Shirakumo, and he's probably just going to warp out Shigaraki from the fight with Deku. So this really is the worst possible scenario that could have happened, and it really is showing that the heroes are going to be kind of going downhill in this fight right now. All For One himself actually starts speaking again, and he's saying that he succeeded in his plan. He actually put a chip inside of the hand that was given to Shirakumo just to make sure that no matter what, he would have to obey them, and he's saying that Spinner did succeed, and we see a bunch of warp gates start to appear up in the air. It starts to appear, and we see that Endeavor himself looks very weary. He's tired, he's fought so much, and we see that it really does seem that he's on his last legs right now. It really does seem right now that more and more as the manga goes on, Endeavor isn't going to get that happy ending that I really did want him to get, and it seems like things aren't going to end the best for him, and I do think that he will pass away now. I really do believe this, and I don't see how Endeavor is going to make it out of this. I wanted him to kind of make it out, maybe having saved Toya at least in heart, but it seems like that isn't going to be the case, and they might both just burn up, literally and figuratively. I do say this because Toya actually does show up to see Endeavor and he says, "Hey there, Dad," and it seems like they're actually going to fight, and he does seem like he's going to be the one to take out Endeavor. As I've said many times on the channel, I really am a big advocate for the Endeavor and making sure that Endeavor has a sort of happy ending that I feel like he does kind of deserve at this point. Endeavor's always kind of been a sort of controversial character. Some people do like him, some people just hate him for what he did, but I do feel like Endeavor at this point in the manga really is a true hero, and he really is a sort of good dad, or at least he's trying to be a good father, and it does show off just how much he has grown since the beginning of the story when we saw just how much of a horrible person he was, and now we see that he really has changed for the better, but it seems like he really isn't going to get that happy ending that he kind of wanted. So I'm thinking what will happen is that Endeavor's actually going to get taken out by Toya here, and it's going to really be up to Shoto to actually take down Toya and kind of avenge everything and kind of save their family. But I don't believe for a second now, and I did have hopes for it, but I don't believe Endeavor's going to actually make it out of the story right now. I think that he is going to pass away before the end, and it is going to be very sad, at least for me. I do like his character, so it's going to be hard seeing him go away, but I do think that's what's going to happen. With that being said, let's go over the final couple panels of the chapter, and these panels are honestly the most insane. We see that the clones of Twice actually start to come out of the warp gates, and this is honestly very bad. We know that this is very bad. Twice's quirk is so broken, and that's why Hawks tried so badly to get rid of him, but it seems like Toga did succeed in getting his quirk back up and running, or stealing his body with the blood and getting his quirk back into the battlefield for the villains. In the final panels of the chapter, we see that All-For-One himself says that a sad man's passing led to a young girl's heart being sort of broken, and we know that his passing really did affect Toga in a bad way, and it seems like she really is trying to get her revenge on the heroes for what they did to her best friend, honestly. It really is perfect too having Hawks here, seeing that he actually isn't gone right now and that his quirk is still going to be in play, and Hawks himself says that we have to end him right now, and this is where the chapter ends. So it really is important that they get rid of these clones right now, right here, before things get very bad, since this does spell honestly the end of the heroes if they can't get this situation under control. And that is where the chapter ends off this week, and I just gotta say this was a very good chapter. There is a break next week, but this was an amazing chapter, and it really does show just how dire the situation is right now for the heroes, and they're going to have to do something to kind of get the situation back under control, because right now it does look like the villains have the upper hand severely, and it does seem like the heroes are going to have to do something to win this fight. But with that being said, I do want to know what everybody else thought of the chapter in the comment section. Also, like the video if you liked it and subscribe, as it really does help out. Thank you for watching, and I'm out. Peace.